Hi, Misha here, and recently we did a video looking at a Generation 1 Glock 17, and in that you saw my Generation 2 Glock 19. Also recently we did a video on the Polish FB Radom Vis 100. When we did that shoot, I brought my trusty old Walther P99 out because FB Radom also manufactures this gun under license in Poland as the P99 Rad. So I wanted it as kind of a control, just in case we were having problems with the Vis 100. As it happened, we didn't, but we ran a few mags through this, and I wanted my cousin and family to try out one of my favorite guns, a gun that I've had for over 20 years. I know where the brass was going, and it got me thinking. I haven't rambled on about a P99 in a minute, so what can we do? And since the internet loves Glocks, and the P99 is pretty unknown, all things considered, I'm going to talk about the top 5 ways this is a superior gun for the day and time compared with this. Just to set the stage why I'm comparing these two. It's because they're pretty contemporary. This is a Glock 19, which you know was introduced in 1988. And aside from the very first ones, they were all Gen 2s. And these were built through 1998. And this has a 4-inch barrel. P99. This began development after Walther's, frankly, failure of the P88 in 1994 and was shown off in 96, put into production in 1997. And this is the Generation 1. In fact, this is the military framed version with the OD green frame. Either way, the Gen 1 was produced up until about 2004. So these were contemporary. Now, I understand that technically the Gen 3 Glock came out pretty soon, but you know, Gen 2, Gen 3. They are close together. On top of that, one thing that's quite interesting about these, the same gentleman, Horst Wesp, worked on both. He worked for Glock in the 80s, and he actually moved to work for Walther in the 90s and contributed heavily to the P99. So in some ways, it seems like this is improving on the gun he already worked on. So yeah, these guns are pretty contemporary. If you'd walked into a gun shop in 1999, this is what you would have seen. So they seem like a good comparison. Oh, and by the way, the full-size P99, it too has a 4-inch barrel. So size-wise, they're very much the same. Same goes with weight, what have you. So that's why I picked these two to compare. Guys, we're having fun. Go with it. And if you'd like to help support the channel, please check out the link to the Patreon. And please comment below, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And with that, let's get into the list and reasons. Number 5, the packaging and accessories. There's the 19, the good old Tupperware box. It's the Tupperware box. I mean, you gotta pry it open because it's Tupperware. No lid, no anything. And it's good if you have some leftovers, I guess, right? And of course, inside, loosely based, we've got the gun, 2 mags, mag loader, plastic cleaning rod. And of course, it would have had a manual too, but nah. Everyone knows how to operate a Glock. But the Walther, come on, nice big case with pop hinges. Nice compartments for everything. 2 mags, of course, cleaning rod, accessories, usually extra sights for different adjustments. Nice place up top for our manual and stuff under the foam here. Presentation, accessories. Yeah, they have 2 mags. Yeah, the Walther doesn't come with a mag loader, but come on, this is nicer. Foam case or Tupperware box. If you were a gun, which would you rather be served in? Number 4, the magazine. The Glock, it's plastic. Yeah, it's a little metal up top. It's mostly plastic. Holds 15 rounds. But getting those last rounds in is a little difficult. Where did I leave my mag loader? Here it is. Not to lose it, because you really need this to get those last couple of rounds in. That's why Glock mag loaders are everywhere. For the Walther though, we get a classic steel mag. Now, early on they would have been blued, later phosphated, you know, whatever finish you want. Got witness holes on each side. Polymer base plate in case you drop it. And this holds 16 rounds. Hey, that extra shot, that might make the difference, right? Now, to be fair, later Walther mags were reduced to 15, but we're just talking about the first generation today, so 16 it is. Personally, my fingers have never had a problem loading these to the max, even when we just recently took it out to the range. So I like the magazines better for the P99. P99. Number 3, the controls. This is less tongue-in-cheek if I'm being honest. Of course, you know the Glock, especially Gen 2s like this. Push button here for the mag and a slide release here. Not bad, really, but the Walther, to my mind, is a big improvement. True, on the earlier generations, the slide release was only on the left, not on the right. Later, it would go to the right too, but so would Glocks. But it is a larger control by a good bit. More importantly though, the magazine release. This flapper style takes a little getting used to. But once you do, this is a true ambidextrous control that doesn't require switching things around, doing anything. You can activate it with both fingers, one finger, offhand. This is a very flexible release, and it's small enough you're not going to accidentally hit it. I really do sincerely believe this is a better system than this. I think it's just a matter of training and experience, but if you're experienced with this gun, this is a very intuitive control, and of course newer generations have improved upon it as well. Number 2, the pistol grip. In general, the ergonomics. I actually like Generation 2, maybe even better than 3, because it doesn't have the humps in the front. I like the half moon cutout. And I actually like the 19 more than the full size, like the 17 or 21. So that's the Glock. I don't mind this. It's actually pretty comfortable. However, the Walther, to my mind and hand, is very comfortable. You have some ribbing in the front, some grooves, but they're very mild. Something that took Glock years to learn. And you have some checkering and patterning and a little bit of a finger indent here, a thumb indent, but it's really not bad. This thing just fits so very well. Now this is a Gen 1, so it has the ski hump. I know that was not a popular feature. They would soon do away with it. But otherwise, I really like it. And the P99 was the very first to do this. Interchangeable back straps. It would actually take Glock quite a long while to catch up, and other pistols would too. It came with a total of 3, small, medium, and large, because that's how sizes work. A lot of modern pistols, if they do have interchangeable back straps, you get a small and a large. So it was one of the very first guns that you could kind of customize this to your hand. On top of that, it's a semi-hard rubber. So it gives a little bit of shock absorption, kind of like with a shotgun. Just a little bit. That just fits my hand very well. Again, the Gen 2 Glock, not bad, but not great. The ergonomics on the grip here, you know, ever since the first day someone set one of these into my hand, it just fit like a glove. Your mileage may vary because we all have different hands, but in all sincerity, for me, the grip on the Walther has always trumped what Glock offered. Number 1, Have you ever seen James Bond carry a Glock? Okay, you know me, I've got to do a joke, but the real top one reason I sincerely believe that Walther was ahead of Glock in 1997, the trigger system. Glock's trigger system really hasn't changed since the introduction. It is it's classified as a double action only, but we know it's not really that. It's a striker system. You know, you have a dead trigger with the dingus, no external safeties. Pull the trigger. That's it.
It even sounds like a staple gun.
It puts staples in things. Clackety clackety. Now you might think that the Walther here is the same or very similar. Polymer gun, it is striker fired, but no, there's a lot more going on. For one thing, there's really never a dead trigger, at least on the original version, later known as the P99 AS, originally just the P99. That's a double action style, you know, fully uncocked. However, if you do this, that's enough to charge it. Notice the trigger stays forward, but it's a light pull now. You can pull it all the way through. Long pull, but light. And on a follow-up shot, it goes into single action mode.
Hey, that sounds like a gun.
Double single action. And if that's not enough, we have a decocker. So if we've got it here, notice the trigger, press this, we're back to double action. So you don't have a partially cocked or fully cocked striker, either way, behind your bullet. I think that's a good idea. Now, of course, Glocks have internal safeties, for sure. But when you've got one in the pipe, that's charged behind it. And there's no way to decock it, except to pull the trigger. Hopefully remembering to exit your round. On top of that, for disassembly, and I'm gonna be honest, this is something that's never bugged me, but it bugs a lot of people. But when you disassemble it, pulling it down here, you have to have it uncocked. So you have to pull the trigger. That has bugged the crap out of some people over the years. With the Walther, you can still do that, having it this in the double action mode for disassembly. The takedown is similarly located, but a larger control. But let's say it's cocked. If you want, you can use the decocker instead of pulling the trigger. This actually becomes a little more important with the quick action version, which has more of a Glock trigger. But in this version, it's less so. But it does aid in disassembly. I just really like this trigger system. I find it very versatile, very flexible. And I've always been a sucker for decockers, and this one is placed very well. On top of that, when it is cocked, there's a striker indicator that sticks out back here to let you know. It's not a loaded chamber indicator, it's a cocked indicator. So that's nice to know. And it's visual and tactile. So yeah, the trigger system, I do sincerely believe, was ahead of the curve. And of course they offer this in 3 modes. This standard mode known as AS, the QA, which was like a Glock but with a decocker, and also the double action only, the DAO, which is pretty much specifically made for police departments that did not want a cocked gun at all. So there you go, folks. My 5 reasons. Some are subjective, some are a little kind of tongue-in-cheek, some are very much what I believe. One thing I thought about including but didn't because it kind of gets convoluted. The Gen 2 Glock has no accessory rail at all, but very soon with the Gen 3 we would get a 1-slot pick rail. Walther, on the other hand, actually introduced the P99 with an accessory rail, but it was a proprietary type, kind of like HK started off with the USP. Now the Gen 2 Glock, the Gen 2 Walther would have a pick rail, but it's kind of getting back and forth and this and that, and I couldn't sincerely say they started the rail thing because it is proprietary. On the other hand, Glock didn't have one, but a couple of years later they did. But for me personally, part of it is I do like Walther as a brand. That's just how it goes. But another thing is I really do like the trigger system, the grip, the mag thing I was kind of joking about, but kind of not. I do like metal mags. Nothing wrong with polymer, but yeah. The Walther just fits me better. I will fully acknowledge that the Glock has been used by oodles of police departments and even militaries, but the Walther has seen military and police use as well. Maybe not in quite the same numbers, but it's not a novice to the track record. And to be fair, Walther as a company has been around a lot longer than Glock, at least as a firearms maker. So if we're talking about heritage, history, testing, yeah, they both kind of have things in their favor. As far as things like reliability, accuracy, they're so equal that it wasn't even worth mentioning, guys. The truth is, these are both very high quality Germanic handguns, and from a time in American history when if you went to the store to buy these, you would have to accept a 10-round magazine, which, let me tell you, sucked. Be thankful for being able to get 15, 16-round mags either way. Just having some fun. Again, we had this one out at the range, and everyone likes to talk about Glocks. I do too, honestly. I do like them. So, with YouTube's love of top fives, it just seemed like something fun to do. Let us know what you think. Give us your own opinions below, how they fit you, your experiences. And as I said at the beginning, if you could, please do like, share, and subscribe. It really helps. Feel free to comment, and if you'd like to help support the channel, please check out the link to the Patreon page. This is Misha, and we'll catch you very soon next time.